Hi, I'm Christina, and I'll just start off by saying that I am a straight, cisgender, and traditionally feminine female, which means that my biological sex, or the sex organs I have, my gender identity, or my femininity, and my sexuality, I prefer men, line up in a very normative way. So it took me a while to understand other identities because I never had to second guess my own. However, I do like to remain socially aware, and so I thought might as well share the wealth and talk about something that is incredibly socially relevant considering the recent Supreme Court ruling and especially Caitlyn Jenner's recent transition. So I'm going to talk a little bit about transgender identity and rights and share with you what I've learned over the years for those of you to whom this may still be very confusing and this may all seem to be like very new terminology. Now, I want you to stop and really think for a second. What if every time you decided to leave your house you felt the need to abstain from water or coffee or any diuretic for fear of using a public restroom? This is the reality of many a trans person, a daily complication in a life already riddled with confusion. Which bathroom to enter is a question we'll probably never have to ask ourselves. So no matter what you believe about trans people, it is important to understand the lives they lead and the laws we have in place concerning them before you form a full opinion. So I'm going to talk a little bit about identity for those of you who don't quite have it all sorted out. And then I'll talk a little bit about policy and a little bit about why it all matters. First, in case you don't know, let me define what who a trans person is, as simply as possible. According to the APA, a trans person is one whose gender identity, or their sense of maleness or femaleness, does not match their biological sex, the one they were assigned at birth. As Caitlyn Jenner put it, she had the body of a male, but the soul and brain of a female. This is different than intersexuality, which is being born with male and female parts, though I encourage you to check this out too because it's also very important. However, when you are trans, you have the male sex, but identify with the female gender, which is the summary of characteristics that make someone feminine. Got it? Oh, also this has nothing to do with your sexuality, which some people get very confused, understandably. You could be a trans man, a person who identifies as male despite being born with female parts, and like men or women, or both. As John Oliver put it quite simply, your gender identity is who you are, and your sexuality is who you love. Oh, also, whether or not you've undergone gender reassignment surgery, you may still identify as trans. Reassignment surgery is expensive and also a major surgery, so it's prohibitive for some people. It's not for everyone. I know that this is super complex to understand, that a woman can still have a penis, especially for someone who is in every way gender conforming. But this is why it's super important to delve into, because it really informs the way you think about issues that are becoming increasingly important and increasing in awareness. Now, I obviously can't talk about all policies, so for now I'm going to talk about the topic of restroom rights in Missouri, which is an inflammatory issue that I never really considered, considering other more obvious issues like job discrimination. Most trans people would probably enjoy the ability to enter the bathroom that matches their gender identity without fear of harassment, or in some cases, legal action. Zach Ford wrote in an article called Missouri Voters Repeal LGBT Anti-Discrimination Law that last October in Missouri an ordinance was passed giving protections to trans individuals who wish to use the bathroom that best suited their needs. However, the Yes on Question 1 campaign issued propaganda urging Missouri voters to repeal this decision, saying that the anti-discrimination ordinance could possibly be abused by men claiming to identify as women for nefarious and predatory purposes. A simple, though imperfect, solution to this issue would be to create an additional gender-neutral bathroom as an option for trans people. On one side of the issue, it could protect these individuals from harassment. On the other, it does have a sort of othering effect, kind of outlying transgender people and identifying them when they may not want to be identified and just want to go about their business. However, Mitch Kellaway from The Advocate states that Missouri has also filed to ensure that restrooms remain single-sex at this point. So that's kind of the state of things in Missouri right now. The trans community is still not afforded bathroom protections by law. So why is this important? Well, because as gender identity becomes more and more discussed, you may have the opportunity to vote to allow someone who is trans into your bathroom. So you're going to want to be informed about what this means for you, and especially what this means for others. Now, on one hand, the argument for trans people using the bathroom that best fits their needs is highlighted by the We Just Need to Pee campaign on Twitter, in which trans men and trans women take pictures of themselves looking decidedly out of place in the opposite bathroom. Also, the state's refusal to accept trans identities by not allowing them bathroom rights delegitimizes their identities and legitimizes other people's reasons for harassment or ridicule or bullying, which in fact has contributed largely to a staggering attempted suicide rate for transgender individuals. It's up to 41% according to the LA Times, which is 9 times the national average. But on the other hand, some people would ask you to consider that these rules and regulations and allowances made for transgender people could be abused by some. So, what do you think? Wherever you may stand, I hope you take time to dive deeper and learn more before you formulate an opinion, and especially before you vote. This is a multifaceted issue reaching far beyond the bathroom, and I've barely scratched the surface. Thank you for your time.